In 1991, a former pro footballer and beloved TV host stood before the world and made an announcement that would change his life forever. He claimed the world's most powerful leaders, including the Queen of England, aren't human. They are, he said, shape-shifting reptilian humanoids from another dimension. This is the story of David Icke and how his wild theories went from a national joke to the center of a global movement. Before the Reptilians and the globe-spanning conspiracies, there was just David Icke, a man who on the surface seemed to have it all. Born in Leicester, England in 1952, his first love was football. He was a promising young goalkeeper who signed with Coventry City and later played for Hereford United on loan. But his career was cut short. At just 21, rheumatoid arthritis forced him to hang up his gloves for good. For many, that would have been a devastating blow, but for Icke, it was just a new beginning. He switched from playing the game to talking about it, building an even more successful career as a sports journalist. His charisma was undeniable. By the early 1980s, he'd reached the top of British broadcasting, becoming a household name as a sports presenter for the BBC on flagship shows like Grandstand and the nation's first-ever breakfast program, Breakfast Time. He was a familiar, trusted face, welcomed into millions of homes. By all accounts, he was a mainstream success story, living a perfectly normal life. But just beneath that conventional surface, a strange and profound transformation was about to begin. The late 1980s were a time of quiet turmoil for Icke. While his public life was a success, he later described feeling a sense of personal despair. The same arthritis that ended his football career still plagued him, and he started looking into alternative medicine and New Age ideas for relief. It was during this search that he said he began to feel a presence around him. This journey for answers led him in 1990 to a psychic healer named Betty Shine. Icke says Shine told him he'd been sent to Earth for a special purpose and that the spirit world was about to pass messages to him. This was the moment his life's path took a sharp turn. He began to believe he was a channel for something much bigger, a messenger for information that would change the world. What started as a search for personal healing was quickly becoming a spiritual mission. He soon left his position as a national spokesperson for the Green Party and got ready to deliver his new message. The trusted sports presenter was about to be replaced by a figure nobody could have ever expected. The stage for David Icke's public transformation was one of Britain's most popular TV shows, The Wogan Show, hosted by the beloved Terry Wogan. In 1991, Icke, wearing what would become an infamous turquoise tracksuit, sat across from Wogan and laid it all out. He announced that he was a son of the Godhead and predicted that the world would soon be rocked by tidal waves and earthquakes. The studio audience exploded with laughter. Wogan, looking completely stunned, pressed him on his claims. The interview was a public crucifixion. Overnight, David Icke went from a respected TV personality to a national laughingstock. He couldn't walk down the street without being mocked. His career in television was over, his reputation destroyed in a single night. For most people, that would have been it. But for David Icke, this humiliation wasn't an end. It was a baptism by fire. Freed from his old life, he was now totally committed to his new path. He set off on a journey to piece together the ideas that had been revealed to him, a journey that would lead from spiritual predictions to a theory more fantastic than anyone could have imagined. Over the next decade, Icke wrote a series of books that blended New Age spiritualism with a sprawling conspiracy theory. It all came together in his 1999 book, The Biggest Secret. It was here that he introduced the idea that would make him infamous around the world. The world, he claimed, is secretly run by a race of shape-shifting reptilian aliens. This wasn't just a vague idea. Icke had built an entire cosmology. He argued these beings, who he called the Anunnaki, or the Babylonian Brotherhood, came from the Draco constellation thousands of years ago. They are interdimensional entities that exist just outside our range of sight. To control humanity, They interbred with ancient humans, creating hybrid bloodlines. These bloodlines, he claimed, became the royal families and eventually today's global elite, the political leaders, the banking dynasties like the Rothschilds, and powerful families like the Bushes. According to Icke, famous figures like the British royal family aren't human at all, but reptilian hybrids who can shift between human and reptile form. But why? Icke's theory has a motive. These reptilians, which he also calls archons, feed on negative energy. He claims they orchestrate wars, financial crashes, and terror attacks to keep humanity in a constant state of fear and suffering, which they consume as power. He argued these same forces are trying to block a great spiritual awakening that would free humanity from their control. He took ancient myths and reframed them as literal history, mixing ideas from science fiction, ufology, and fringe history into a grand, unified theory of everything. The man once laughed off stage now had a complete, if unbelievable, explanation for all the evil in the world. If you find these deep dives into extraordinary beliefs and the people behind them compelling, take a moment to subscribe to Uncovered. We drop new documentaries every week exploring the mysteries that shape our world. The obvious question, of course, is why would anyone believe such an outlandish story? How did a theory about lizard people controlling the world move from one man's book to a belief system with a global following? Icke himself has spoken in dozens of countries, sometimes to crowds of thousands. The reasons are buried deep in human psychology. Conspiracy theories tend to flourish in times of uncertainty. They offer simple answers to complex, frightening problems. For many, the idea of a hidden enemy is more comforting than the chaos of a random world. It provides a target for anger and a sense of control when there is none. Believing you have access to secret knowledge also satisfies a powerful need to feel special, to be one of the few who are awake, while everyone else is asleep. These theories offer a clear battle between good and evil, giving believers a sense of purpose, to fight back against the hidden enemy. Icke's narrative doesn't just explain worldly evil, it turns a spiritual journey into a cosmic war, giving its followers a heroic role to play. While it's easy to write off the reptilian conspiracy as harmless fun, its real-world impact has been anything but. In 2020, Anthony Warner detonated an RV in downtown Nashville, killing himself and causing massive damage. Investigators later discovered he had sent materials to people detailing his belief that the world was controlled by lizard people. On top of that, critics have long pointed out that Icke's theories often recycle classic anti-Semitic tropes. The idea of a secret cabal of blood-drinking elites who control the global financial system and manipulate world events mirrors the lies found in texts like the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, a notorious anti-Semitic hoax. Icke has always denied these accusations, insisting he's talking about interdimensional reptiles, not any specific human race. However, the overlap is hard to ignore, and his theories have found a comfortable home within extremist movements like QAnon. For spreading dangerous misinformation, he has been banned from numerous social media platforms and even from entering several countries. So, who is David Icke? Is he a cynical grifter who made a fortune selling fantasy to the vulnerable? A man who suffered a genuine psychological break and has been lost in a delusion ever since? Or is he just a symptom of our modern age, a reflection of a world so complex and frightening that millions are willing to believe that lizard people are secretly in control? The story of the man who said the queen is a lizard forces us to ask an even more unsettling question. What does it say about our world that so many people were willing to listen? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below.